Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Madam Secretary, for being here. This week, the NTIA collected comments designed to inform its preparation of a national spectrum strategy. In soliciting comments, the NTIA observed how important the wireless industry is to our economic security and growth. In fact, U.S. leadership in spectrum for 4G allowed it to become the world leader in allied industries like app development. To replicate that success with 5G and to prevent China and others from taking the lead from the United States, we must continue to make spectrum available for wireless networks. But I understand that the FCC is currently acting as a bottleneck today. It conducted an auction for valuable mid-band spectrum that concluded in August, but it has not issued licenses to the winner of the most licenses, claiming that lapse in auction authority prevents it from doing that. Would you agree that expediting rather than delaying the deployment of mid-band spectrum is important to the American economy and to our national security?
Yeah. Let me say this. I'm not going to speak to what the FCC is doing or not doing, but yes, it is very important to have spectrum available to advance innovation. And of course, there is a balance, and the Department of Commerce and NTIA work hand in glove with the Department of Defense to make sure the Department of Defense has what it needs to advance its capacity. But there's no question about it. National defense also depends on America out-innovating our competitors, and we need spectrum in order to move forward those commercial applications.
And I want to continue on the theme of national security. You talked a lot about preventing China from overtaking us, but I want to go back to the CHIPS Act because there are a number of issues with the CHIPS Act as it was written last year that have become apparent. In particular, the ability to funnel money that was meant to support chip manufacturers into other areas of a manufacturer's business. The text of the CHIPS Act leaves a lot to the Secretary. And you recently stated, quote, if Congress wasn't going to do what they should have done, we're going to do it in implementation. Now that sounds awfully a lot like you usurping the power of Congress to make decisions for yourself. Please correct me on that.
That is not the intent at all. Look, Congress, in a bipartisan way, passed the CHIPS Act as a national security initiative. And we are investing the money to advance our national security goals. So I will correct you on that. There's no intention to do that. And I am, be as transparent as possible to make sure meet the team, know what we're doing. But at the end of the day, we have clear national security goals that we need to achieve. We've put those out in a strategy paper, and all we're doing all day, every day is to try to meet those objectives.
Well, I'm glad the ranking member cited the Heritage Foundation because the president of the Heritage Foundation recently observed that the answer to the CCP's malevolent ambitions is not spending billions of dollars to help Fortune 500 companies with no guarantee that those dollars won't end up supporting these companies' business operations in China. So let me ask you, the legislative text of the CHIPS Act states that semiconductor manufacturing has the meaning given the term by the Secretary in consultation with the Defense Secretary and National Intelligence Director and includes front-end semiconductor fabrication. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And a further concern, any recipient of this funding is still allowed to expand its operations in China if it wouldn't constitute a significant transaction, correct?
Read that again. No one who well, I'll let you finish and then I'll answer.
Well, what I'm concerned about is that
no company that gets CHIPS money, if they accept CHIPS money, they cannot expand in China or do leading edge. They cannot expand in China for 10 years or do leading edge in China.
To the degree that it constitutes a significant transaction.
Well, if I can finish, the only expansion they're allowed to do, and this is all in the statute, I'm not doing anything that's not in the statute, is they can expand in China for China, but if they take our money, they cannot otherwise expand in China.
But a recipient of CHIPS funding is still allowed to expand its operations in China so long as it wouldn't constitute a material expansion, which is not defined in the legislation, correct?
If you're reading the law, I don't have the law in front of me.
All right. My time's expired, Mr. Chairman.
I mean, I'm happy to follow up with you.
Thank you.